Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is exactly 16 after 8 o'clock. News and views right here on Salam Media this Wednesday morning on the 12th of October 2022. And our first interview for the morning is with Dr. Mustafa Mheta. He's a senior research fellow and head of the Africa desk at Media Review Network. And I now have spoken with Dr. Mheta before. I don't think he's based in South Africa. I'm more than certain based in one of the African countries, but he will correct that in a minute or two. And the topic of discussion, obviously, this morning is a very sore point for all of us here in Africa. It's about the election of Morocco to the rotational chairmanship of the African Peace and Security Council. People are looking at it as a direct affront to democracy and dignity of Africa. Assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Mustafa Mheta. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you, Julie, for having me.
Nice to have you on the show. I am correct in thinking that you're not based in South Africa. You're somewhere in North Africa. Is that right?
I'm on the Horn of Africa in Mogadishu, in Somalia, actually.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So I was right. And we have talked before as well. So regarding issues around Morocco, I mean, they have been slated as being an apartheid regime. And here we're hearing that they've been elected supposedly by one person who's put their name forward to the rotational chairmanship of the African Peace and Security Council. Why is there this displeasure, this anger for them being at the helm of the African Union?
And the person you're talking about is none other than the chair of the African Union Commission, who is notorious when it comes, he has made some very unpopular decisions on behalf of Africans, and he's none other than.
You're referring
Pardon?
to Dr. Musa. You're referring to Dr. Musa Faki, am I right?
Yes, Musa Faki Muhammad. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And this is the chair of the African Union Commission.
So, Dr. Mheta, why is it that other members haven't voted him off? They should be voting him off because he seems to be making. Why has he not been voted off? Because he seems to make unilateral decisions, and then you kind of question, you question then why even have a union, trying to manage the affairs of the continent.
Yeah, he has failed notoriously, because of some of the decisions that he has made. Notably, one he single-handedly elevated, the Israeli apartheid state to an observer, mission, observer position at the African Union, when the rest of Africa had not made that decision. And we all know that that decision now has been stored, and a lot of leaders.
Okay, I seem to have lost that connection there with Dr. Mustafa Mheta. Let's try and reconnect because
he has done the same thing he has done with.
Okay, we do have to reconnect. Let's take an ad break, and inshallah, we will be back with you in a minute or two.
Thank you.
This is Salam Media.
The time is 8:22 a.m. We do apologize for that unstable line with Dr. Mustafa Mheta, but we have managed to get him on the phone now. He is Senior Research Fellow and Head of the Africa Desk at Media Review Network, and he is obviously based, as he said to us earlier on, in the north of Africa. Welcome back, Dr. Mustafa Mheta. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. Dr. Mheta, are you still there? Okay, the traffic this morning, which is absolutely crazy on the roads here in Johannesburg, it seems the lines are also doing its own thing. I think there seems to be a conspiracy just to upset me. And I am mad as hell as it is about the traffic situation. I got here just a minute before my show started. And normally I'm the first one at the studio. I sometimes just, like 2 days ago, I was here at 7 o'clock in the morning. And no, not even 7 o'clock. I think it was just shortly after 6:30. There was a special reason for that, obviously, but I'm always first at the office or at the studio. And today, I, thank goodness, got here just on time. But of course, Alhamdulillah, I hear that we do have Dr. Mustafa Mheta back online. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes, Julie, I can hear you very well.
Oh man,
Thank
we're
you.
having fun in games this morning with this unstable network. Okay, I'm going to hand
Yes.
over to you. You're going to talk to us about and the reason why this man Mustafa Mohammed is still heading up single-handedly, making unilateral decisions. And I think you and I did speak about that issue, allowing Israel to come in on, having a chair at the AU in an observer capacity. I remember that you and I spoke about that. But let's understand what's happening now. This is a serious situation because we also need to understand the geographic, or the geopolitical situation of Morocco and its neighbors. So first, let's talk about the man, Mr. Mohammed, and then why this election of Morocco to the rotational chairmanship of the African Peace and Security Council is a no-no. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Julie. To begin with, to even talk about the man himself, Mustafa Mohammed, he, ever since he's coming in at the African Union Commission as chair, a lot of very unpopular, positions, have been taken by the African, on behalf of the African Union. And there are many of them where we have seen, the influence of imperialist countries, trying, to continue treating Africans as Africa and Africans as the playground of them, their playground. So all these things have happened during the time or the reign of Mustafa Mohammed. If you can recall, when we had our own candidate from Southern Africa, Mrs. Dr. Nkosazana Jamin Zuma.
That's right, yes.
Who left, yes, she left voluntarily, to get into politics in her own country. Since then, very unpopular, moves we've seen there. And the French, Francophone Africa, they are on top now at the African Union, and very unpopular decisions have been made. And that partly is to do with the influence of France France has a very strong stranglehold on its former colonies. In actual fact, France believes that once a colony, always a colony. So it has been going on, for a very long time, and we've seen all these unpopular decisions. So the election of Morocco to the chairmanship of the African Peace and Security is definitely an affront, to the dignity of Africa and its people. We cannot, get Morocco an occupying force in Western Sahara, and they are doing it by force. And on a daily basis, they continue with the looting of the resources of the people of Western Sahara, abusing and humiliating them on a daily basis. So we have since been calling on the current chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mr. Mustafa Mheta, to look at this and say, why did you bring back, Morocco into the fold when the African Union, they are standing positions, resolutions by the African Union and the UN, by the way, that Morocco
So,
is
all right. So, Dr. Mheta, he has transgressed, he's broken rules. I should imagine that you have rules and regulations by which everybody, each member has to abide by, and he has transgressed those rules. Can he not be summarily dismissed because of all of the unpopular decisions or decisions that he makes, which are biased towards his friends and his country?
Yes, we definitely want to get him out. He's not the type that we need at the African Union. But remember, Africa is weak. Behind the scenes, what goes on behind the scenes is, these imperialists, West, the imperial powers, the powers that are ruling this world, have got a stranglehold on our leaders. And the next thing they want to do, that they receive phone calls, maybe, in the night, and telling them that don't, do this, and we will do this. If you do this, we will do this. They are threatened at times with very, various sources of threats, are issued at them.
So they playing up. They appeasing their Western masters. But be that as it may, let's give some background information to our listeners. Particularly, I'd like you to talk about the geopolitics of that region regarding, the years of occupation. Morocco has systematically plundered the Sahrawi natural resources. I want you to touch on that. I also want to talk about Morocco, their racist apartheid regime controlling 2/3 of the land, the beautiful land of that part of Sahara, by building a military wall and the impact it's had on the rightful people of that region. So talk about those two very important issues to us.
Yes. Well, Western Sahara is, of course, a country bordered by Morocco, Algeria, Mauritania, and, of course, the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. So this Western Sahara first fell under Spanish rule in 1884. Becoming a Spanish province in 1934. From 1975, the colonial master, which was Spain, signed an illegal pact known as the Madrid Agreement with Morocco and Mauritania, abandoning the North African territory to invasions. Okay? And following that pact, Morocco and Mauritania moved, into annex the territory, while Spain ensured its interest in the exploitation of natural resources in the region. So from 1975 to early 1980s, Moroccan Air Force rained napalm bombs. Napalm bombs are actually banned by the international community now, never to be used. And white phosphorus, on the Sahrawi people, killing thousands of men, women, and children only because they rejected their illegal occupation, of their land. And they tried, to flee some of them to the zone to organize, resistance, following, these massive killings. So then we find, the formation, of the Sahrawi Liberation Movement, which is the Polisario Front. They then decided to seek refuge for thousands of Sahrawi refugees in the only neighboring country that did not attack Western Sahara, which is Algeria. All right? So then from 1976 onwards, the refugees in Algeria, formed the Sahrawi state in exile. Okay? The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, or Sadra. So at present, Sadra is a full member of the African Union. And listen to this. It's a full member of the African Union and is officially recognized by more than 50 countries worldwide. Okay? So this Mauritania, which was the other occupying, force, withdrew. They withdrew from Western Sahara. And Morocco took control of the whole territory.
Okay, Dr. Mustafa, we are running out of time. I just want to know two more things. Is even though Morocco was under Spanish rule for many years, how come France has such a vested interest in Morocco, and how is it that the Moroccans speak French rather than Spanish? And also, last question. When does Mustafa Mheta's term end, or are you guys planning on the African Union planning on ending his term earlier because he's creating lots of mayhem as far as the African Union is concerned?
Well, the first part of your question, why are they speaking French, and you can see already there that
the French interest.
The French, the French have got interest, and France for Africa. France looks at Africa as a business entity. The French they are raking in billions of dollars into their economy. All the territories that were under their influence, they levy some kind of a fee. They have to pay something to France, into the coffers of France.
A tax.
And as a result, I think, a tax, some kind of what goes. So, and it goes into billions, not less than 500 billion. Now, we are saying that is money for France. So, with their foot soldiers like this Mr. Mustafa Mheta, he's a foot soldier of the French. He's doing a bidding for them, and they like people like that. They always like these house niggers, and that's that's what they want. The imperial powers. They have people like him who can maneuver, for their interests. They like that. So I think he's simply there for that. And then the last part of your question, where you ask why can the African Union, dismiss him? It's impossible, like I told you. Right now, remember, there were elections, I think this year, were elections, and he was elected for another term again.
Okay.
At the helm of the African Union. And these leaders of ours, there are certain things that they don't tell us. Perhaps they will tell us one day when they leave, power, how they are maneuvered. they don't have any say. They don't have
So
any say
it's,
at
yeah,
all. I believe,
it's really
yeah.
a situation of Africa shooting itself in the foot. That being said, very quickly, can you tell us what's the current situation like for the Sahrawi people? Because we understand that the Moroccans had built an apartheid wall in Morocco, and beyond the wall, uh, Morocco maintains live minefields and barbed wire fences, making it impossible for men and animals to move freely around the once free desert, the Sahara Desert.
Yes, that's very, very true. That's very, very true. The situation currently on the ground is not very much in favor of Morocco. There has been the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, because of late there have been maneuvers in that region by the Western imperial powers to make sure that they appease Morocco for being Morocco those Moroccans, they are like a bidding, a part of the Western Imperial, an extension of the Western Imperial or continent, and they play their part. Already now you have seen, because they've solicited for support from the Western openly, from the Western imperial powers, on condition that they normalize their relations with Israel, Zionist Israel. And at the present moment, there are demos, going on, and a lot of journalists in that country, senior journalists, are in prison. They've been arrested. If you check, an article that was written by Mr. Jassat recently, I think a day or two ago, it was published there in South Africa. There are some journalists. He wrote about the plight of journalists, senior journalists in the territory of Morocco, who are incarcerated now, being persecuted for opposing some of the unpopular, decisions that this government has made. And Morocco is an extension of, none other than, the Western imperial, powers. And even there, if you get to Morocco, for those of you who have been to Morocco, you know that those people, they don't even know whether they are Africans. They can't tell you whether they are Africans or they belong to Europe. Of late,
Okay, unfortunately, that's
ago.
Dr. Mehta, that's where we have to leave it. We have run out of time, unfortunately. But thank you indeed so much for talking to us about this dire situation. As I've said earlier on, Africa always shoots itself in the foot. When are we going to learn? When are we going to be totally independent of colonialism and imperialism? Thank you indeed for your time. Keep us in your du'as, and salamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much.
8:40 exactly. News and views right here on Salam Media.